superhero cops.
I do.
Talked to Taylor, and he said the leader is by a guy by the name of Captain Stan Ironside Blackwood. Without even seeing the picture that I thought I had. So I guess the most 80s cartoon superhero cop name ever.
Well, yeah. What the hell? Why is there a network error? What's going on? Why does it say network error?
You have 16 hit points. Shit. What?
I don't know. There's a network error on Twitch for some reason. Just says. Hold on. Oh wait, there it is.
Refresh it, man.
There it is. It's working.
I'm glad we didn't leave that
The Roadhouse one.
yeah, you don't have to put it.
No, how?
Yeah, over 600,000 people got their
Jesus.
they Thanos snapped half the fucking website
Damn.
because they changed their terms and conditions and stuff. Yeah, because of what happened about disrespect, they changed their terms and conditions, and like a week ago, like shit tons of people got their account not like shut down for a week or whatever. No,
Like banned.
it was removed. Like the account was gone.
Damn.
What? There was a couple bigger ones got. Lyric got removed, but he was a huge one. Sonic G1 was another huge one. Just got straight up removed. So I'm glad we didn't leave that on.
Yeah, it's a good thing I did what I did then. What the fuck? Why are they doing that? Hold on. What the fuck's happening?
What?
Well, it looks like we were streaming and then we're not now. Is it?
I gotta pull that.
Can you hear us talking?
I got it muted. Say something.
La 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 la.
Yes, I can hear it.
Why is it not letting me?
There's a delay in it. Hold on, let me count.
Because it's showing me. There's like a minute and 10-second video, but what the fuck is happening?
It says we've been live for 4 minutes.
Does it?
Yes.
It's not showing me. I don't know what's going on. God dang it!
You got it pulled up, so.
Are we still showing live?
Yeah, he's got it pulled up over there.
Can you hear this?
You can't hear nothing. He said. Yes, you can.
Okay. Well, why is...
There's a delay.
It's not showing me anything.
Can't hear me again.
I think it's because I've got it on a different slide. Here, let me switch the... Because it should be still fixed on the live scene. Talk now.
Hello, 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 hello.
La 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 blah blah.
Yeah, 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 it
Yeah.
works.
So
It's supposed to mute mics.
yeah,
Yeah, because that means y'all are going to mute constantly.
probably.
I'm going to go ahead and hit Craig now.
All right. la bala.
So, if you're listening, we are live on Twitch.
We're live on the Twitch.
Yeah, we're getting ready to stream
Prince,
the
the last bout of the century.
I'll be honest. I really hope that Trump doesn't do what he did last.
I hope he don't either. I think he might.
Really don't.
I think he might be a little bit more reserved this time. Cause did you watch? Um, did you watch any of the town halls that they did?
I did not.
I saw clips and like they were being so soft and easy with Biden, like giving him just like easy questions and like Trump's like the chick was like trying to debate him herself. Like she was so rude, but he was so like calm and like reserved during the whole thing. Like he didn't raise his voice or nothing during it. But she was like, it was a big thing too. Like she got like a lot of backlash because she was just being rude to him. But during he wasn't like he was during the first debate. So I think he might be a little bit more reserved tonight. I don't know. We'll
Let me look up to see who's a moderator this tonight. I'm sure it's some kind of Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has all kind of Democratic Party, so that's what the last fucking thing had. Christian Welker, moderator. It's the moderator tonight. Let's see. Let's look her up real quick and see who the fuck she is.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to tonight's main event.
Another native journalist working for NBC News. That's bad. Served as White House correspondent. National.
Uh,
Career.
there we are. Is it?
Tucker regularly represents MSNBC at the daily White House press briefings. Graduated from Germantown Friends School in Philadelphia. That just sounds fucking fake.
It does.
In 94 at Harvard College with a bachelor's of arts in 98. Bachelor's of arts, that means you had a degree in fucking nothing. If I'm thinking correctly, like it's liberal art. I mean, it's just, that means that like she took like general studies, which means she didn't do anything.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go pee. This is our pre-fight restroom break. I'll be back. Okay.
Okay, so I got it all posted.
Awesome.
No, but I really hope, like, really hope that, like, Trump comes in this calm, cool, collected, and comes with
Yeah. Which I think he will. I think tonight he'll be a bit more calm about it.
uh, 10 minutes, 30 seconds.
10 minutes and 30 seconds. Welcome. Welcome to tonight's main event. Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, the man who likes to sniff little girls, Joe Sleepy Biden.
Yay!
No, not yay.
Okay.
Not a yay.
No.
And in this corner,
And the red trunks.
the reigning champ, the man who everyone loves to try to say is racist, our current Commander in Chief, Donald J. Trump. Yay!
What kind of nicknames did you
Uh,
Donald, keep America great. Trump.
or Donald Orange Man Trump, because everybody's always like, he's so orange.
This is fact. This is true.
It is fact he is orange. See? Inclusive president. We had a black man, now we have an orange one.
What's the next color, America?
Purple!
You know what? I want one that has like, what is it like? Was it silver disease? Where the people turn blue? They're like poisons or whatever. And their skin turns blue. So like a purple color. Oh no.
What?
Looks like my family is not getting together for um, Thanksgiving because of the COVID.
Uh-oh.
We got a family member that has it.
Uh-oh. COVID strikes again.
Tested positive. Have you? Okay, I don't know if it's just me or but so my uncle has had he's chief water operator at our local PS. He has two guys. He got like 5 or 6 that are under him. 2 of them have tested positive, including their wives.
Really?
I've had an ex-girlfriend. Her dad tested positive, and now her and her 2-year-old kid is in quarantine for 14 days.
My daughter was in quarantine for 2 weeks because she was just around someone who was around someone was that tested positive. She wasn't even around the person. She was just around the person that was around the person, and they told her to quarantine, which didn't make sense to me because I was like, well, what about her brother? Like, what about my son? Does he need to? And they were like, no, as long as he stays away from her. Well, it's possible that if it's possible that she might have it because she was around someone who was around the COVID person, wouldn't it stand to reason that he would also need to be on quarantine?
Yeah, that would make sense.
But they said, nah, that don't make sense. What? I don't think.
It don't make any sense to me either. But I have noticed it over the past month or so in our little like sleepy town area we live in. There's been a lot of people now. I actually have a second cousin who physically got it.
Right.
Like didn't just test positive because if you test positive, then after 14 days, if you don't have any symptoms, you're fine. I'm talking like was on a respirator, like physically had it, kind of thing. And he was on a respirator, and like from beginning to end, it was like a month and a half or so before he finally got over it. And that happened about 2 months ago.
Right.
And I've noticed, I don't know why, but like more and more people are starting to like test positive, test positive, test positive. Or maybe it's getting close to the election.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am a firm fucking believer that once the coronavirus will go away, Rona, that dirty boy, will go away one of 2 days.
Either.
Day after the election.
All right.
Democrats win, it will magically disappear within a month. Okay? Or if Trump wins, day after the inauguration.
Yeah.
He'll go away. You wait and see. I've always been a firm believer in it.
I'm
Because they're so-called Rona deaths. If you have cancer, physical cancer, and you die of cancer, but you tested positive for coronavirus, you died of coronavirus. Even
right.
You've been fighting cancer for the past 2 fucking years, and it has just physically eaten your fucking liver to the point where you fucking died. Nope, that's a Rona death. And that is fact. Go look it up.
Yeah.
They did that shit.
They did.
And they're doing that shit.
I am curious, like, right, like like we're fully aware that COVID is a real thing, but I am curious to see, like, after the election, what happens. I am very, very curious.
And if you hear crashing in the background, Jethro is watching. What are you watching? The Strain. Okay, all of it got released on Hulu, and he's watching. It's an awesome show, but it's good now. Alright, so let's bring it on because we got 3 right at.
Alright. I'm a comin'. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
I think that's how it
should be. Yeah.
Little thing comes down. He's like, and in the blue trunks.
In this corner.
Yeah, they come in. They got their own theme songs.
Banana, banana. That'll be Joe Biden's. Banana, banana, baby, here I am. Then Trump's would be like the Undertaker's music.
I don't know, man. I think they should. The world is getting more and more like fucking. You ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah.
The world is getting more and more like Idiocracy.
Well, if COVID don't go away, we're gonna see Trump come on and go, just drink Gatorade.
It's got electrolytes.
It's got electrolytes. It's got electrolyte. It's the best. It's got electrolytes. It's the best.
You know what else has electrolytes? I love it, man. Gotta drink water, like clean water. You mean like from the toilet? I love at the end of it. They got big hoses they're sticking in the toilets to suck the water out. All right, so I'm gonna go get some water and I'll be right back.
All right. What Buck don't know is we've got a hidden camera focusing on his every move. I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't. The FBI might. Why is chat disconnecting?
All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, are we coming through okay? Let's find us. Just double check here.
I believe we are. We are, because we're live now.
Yep. Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good here. We're doing good. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, here it comes now.
Year like no other, with record-shattering voter turnout.
A vote for Republicans is a vote for safe communities, great jobs, and a limitless future for all Americans. We choose hope over fear.
Why the fuck do they even have the people here in the audience? Why?
I don't know.
What the fuck is the point?
Truth over lies. Time to stand up and take back our democracy.
Stand up and take back our democracy. Trump versus Biden. The final presidential debate.
Final countdown.
Reporting, Chief Anchor George Stephanopoulos.
And welcome back to our special coverage of tonight's final presidential debate, just moments away now, and that is the scene at
Just
Belmont
moments
University
away.
in Nashville, where President Trump and Vice President Biden will take the stage for 90
We'll face off.
questions from
Final
NBC News.
battle.
In a battle to the death.
Americans have already
The
voted.
fate of America will be decided tonight.
In a sign of how engaged Americans
But first, a word from my sponsor. You like carrots?
states. The pool of undecided voters is shrinking by the day. He's got to do something tonight to shake out this race.
You see, you gotta go really good. If he doesn't do good, then he's not gonna be good. Thanks for that riveting, breakdown of what has to happen. I always think these reporters are like fucking retarded
Yeah.
because they talk for 45 fucking minutes about the same fucking thing
Yeah.
and they don't actually say anything.
Not at all. Blah 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 blah. All right, God, what the fuck, man? Get on with it. I'm muting you for now. Fuck you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what ABC News has to say. Oh, you fucked up your mask.
Nobody. He clearly has one that's too small.
Yeah,
And he looks fucking weird.
he does. This guy. Why are they wearing? Why is she wearing it in the studio? Like she. Oh, I guess
don't know.
she's there.
I'm not sure.
I don't
to be
know.
honest
I
with
don't
you.
know if we should be listening to what these people have to say.
It's ABC. So
Could get ugly, and Joe Biden is going to push back against personal attacks, but he really doesn't want to get into the mud with the president. That is easier said than done, but instead, Joe Biden's goal here is really to stay laser focused on the president's
Laser
handling of this pandemic
focused.
and to try and talk
Like
laser focus.
like a little girl's hair.
When Trump comes after him, Biden is going to argue this isn't about his family, this is about your family and what voters are looking for in their next president.
But Mary, Biden has admitted he lost his temper a little more than he wanted to at the last debate.
And George, I can tell you, I have
you see,
Yeah.
in the last debate,
former vice president, he was very blunt, often very harsh. At one point, he even told the president of the United States to shut up. I think it will be interesting tonight to see whether he softens his tone at all against the president.
Even if they mute Trump's mic, though, do you think it's gonna do any good?
nope.
Oh, here we go. All right. Who's this chick? Is she another?
That's Kirsten whatever.
Good evening from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Kristen Welker of NBC News, and I welcome you to the final 2020 presidential debate between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates.
Donald Big Daddy Trump and Sleepy Joe.
The Commission's health security advisor. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers.
They promised you shut the fuck up.
Except right now, as we welcome to the stage former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Trump comes out and he's got like a world champion belt on. Yes, the first thing I'd like to say is fuck Sleepy Joe. That is all.
I do want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate will cover 6
What's crack-a-lackin', my honkies?
each section. Each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question. The debate commission will then turn
That never is a
on their
thing.
microphone
Yeah,
when
it's
it's
not.
their
It's never
turn
a
to
thing.
answer, and the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2
Look
minutes
at Joe's.
have expired.
I'd like to sniff your hair.
Microphones will remain on.
Look at him. He's like, I have a picture like Gwen Quagmire. So he's a Quagmire. Giggity. All right.
Cross country tour. Isn't
How old are
there?
you?
Isn't there?
16, 18, all right.
Cross country tour. Isn't there supposed to be an Owen country? Nope.
Country is heading for 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID.
All right, here we go.
Here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to
He must have the correct blood type.
Yeah.
Operation Warp Speed.
I do.
The military is going to distribute
If you're type O blood, you're immune to it.
personal experience.
It's O or OB or something like that.
It's type O.
Two,
It's
something like that.
type O. That's what I got.
They gave me a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure. But I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight. And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune. More and more people are getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. But I've been congratulated by the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do. With the, if you take a look at what we've done in terms,
I like this hand movement he does. Every interview or whatever you say, he does that hand thing.
and in particular ventilators.
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
Ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributing them all over the world. It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Okay, former Vice President Biden, to you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. You hear nothing else I say tonight. Hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America. We're in a situation where there are 1,000
It's not.
deaths a day now. 1,000 deaths a day. And there are over
What? No, we're not.
70,000 new cases per day.
Are we? Are we at 1,000 a day?
What's going on in
I don't know, man. To be honest with you.
starting from a very low
I don't think we are.
starting from very high rate.
That seems very inflated.
We'll have another 200,000 Americans dead between now and the end of the year. If we just wore these masks, the president's own advisors have told him, we could save 100 in a circumstance where the president thus far still has no plan, no comprehensive plan. What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure.
Really? It's not like every fucking business and around says you can't fucking come in unless you got a mask
Yeah.
on.
Here's something funny about this mask thing. Almost every Democrat you see, except for Nancy Pelosi because she has to be fancy, has these black masks that looks a lot like what Antifa wears.
Yeah.
Said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
It does.
I'd like to follow up with you.
I don't like.
You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing Regeneron.
It doesn't matter what president was
within weeks.
was
Is that a guarantee?
in charge
Not a guarantee, but it
when
will
this
be
hit.
by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are two companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well, and we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you, because this is new information. You have said a vaccine is coming soon, within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular that's the head of logistics, and this is a very easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it, know it, look at it, go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no clue.
You know, it's funny.
There's no prospect.
This is still early,
For the majority of the American people before the middle of next
but
year.
Trump's not said one thing about Biden.
He has not.
Biden has done everything he can to like sling something towards Trump.
He's trying to provoke him.
Yeah.
China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe. But China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it too soon. Now he's saying, "Oh, I should have, moved quicker." But
Which is
he
true.
He was
That's
months behind
fact.
me,
Yep.
many months behind me. And frankly, he ran the H1N1 swine flu, and it was a total disaster. Far less lethal, but it was a total disaster. Had that had this kind of numbers, 700,000 people would be dead right now. But it was a far less lethal disease. Look, his own person who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic. It was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing. Now he comes up and he tells us how to do this. Also, everything that he said about the way, every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it. But he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access from China. And he did it late after 40 countries had already done it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Told him not to.
Sure that we had 44
Nancy Pelosi and the fucking Democratic Party told him not to.
Yeah.
what exactly the source was. What did the president say in January? He said, no, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about don't worry. It's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump, your reaction?
Say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
I agree. You can't lock yourself in a fucking basement. You can't stay inside. Believe me, you get shit.
By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in a basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. I can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families. Every meeting I had, and I had to meet them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said, this is dangerous, and you catch it. And I caught it. I learned a lot. Great doctors, great hospitals, and now I recovered. 99.9 of young people recover. 99%
That's fact.
of
Yep.
people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our schools, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
And of course, the CDC has said young people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it. Vice President Biden, I want to talk broadly about strategy, though. You have
Can I respond to that?
30 seconds, please, and then I have a question.
Number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning.
What
That
the
man and
fuck?
wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their out of habit where their wife or husband was is gone. Learning to live with it.
What the fuck are you even talking about,
Dying
Joe?
with it. Because he's never said, he said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still?
I mean,
He's fucking said it's dangerous.
yeah.
He just fucking said it was dangerous. You dumb, half-ass fucking listening piece of shit.
It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that he came here either. It's China's fault. They kept it.
Well, I agree with him with that.
Yeah.
It's nobody's fucking fault.
But they didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including Europe and ourselves.
It's China's fault for not nipping it in the goddamn bud to begin with.
Yeah.
It hit. What happened? What did the president say? He said, don't worry. It's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm weather. Don't worry.
It will.
He said he was kidding.
Scientists, they fucking told him that it can't stand heat.
Yeah.
So that's why he said
We're about to lose 200,000 more people.
it's a possibility that it's going to die out in the summer.
Yeah. And the numbers did go down in summer.
They did.
When I closed, he said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on for months. What, Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco.
That's fact. That
That's
happens.
fact. Yep.
This is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic. I think he called me racist even. And because I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't
I
work.
didn't say either of those things. You said
Oh, interruption.
I talked about a xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right, I want to talk about both of your
What?
different strategies.
That's not why he closed it.
You dumb-
He wasn't.
Did you understand the question? I don't fucking think you did.
Strategies toward dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus?
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country. It's his
How, fucking Joe? How, you dumb piece of shit? How? You gonna walk up to the, or you gonna have a meeting with the virus and say, listen,
Huh.
Rona, we're gonna have to let you go.
He should have been, instead of in a sand trap at his golf course, he should have been negotiating.
How about answer the goddamn question?
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Oh, well, no, I'm not shutting down the name, but there are, look.
He fucked him up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he was trying to say, he wasn't even answering the question.
Everybody says, slow up.
I think Pence had a talk with Trump before this.
I think they got together and Pence was like, listen, this is how you beat these dumb fucks.
Yep.
Don't say nothing.
The capacity to do it safely. For example, schools, they need a lot of money to open. They need to deal with ventilation system. They need to deal with smaller classes, more teachers, more pods. And
More pot. What? He said pies?
I thought he said pods.
I think we have to respond.
Either way.
Please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love Trump.
Yeah.
Oh yes, thank you.
He knows how to talk. He knows how to talk.
He does.
That's
He talks like a normal American.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why people like him.
They're shut down so tight, and they're dying. They're dying. And he supports all these.
Yeah, the fucking movie industry, the theater industry, is basically going to be bankrupt by the end of the year. That's fact.
yeah. And like well, the airlines and something else.
The
Lost.
airlines just laid off 100,000 people.
Yeah. And Disney laid off a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, they laid out. Yeah, huge stuff.
Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids but also their teachers and families?
I want to open the schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small. But I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this.
I agree with him on that.
I do too.
There's a massive.
You can't just.
Massive economy.
We can't have everything. It can't be. We're going to be the United States of the internet.
Yeah, you gotta open up, but be safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Trump needs to say. We can open. We need to open up, but we need to be safe in doing it. That's what he needs to say.
Yeah.
And he wants to close down. He'll close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Simply not true. We ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We ought to
What?
What did he just say? Did he just say that you can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time?
He said we need to be able to, but like, what does that got to do with?
What the fuck does that got to do with him? He's trying to. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to get this like I'm a gold Southern boy and I'm gonna talk like this to
Yeah.
get people to like me. But I come off as creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
We need to be able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this. And that is not inconsistent with saying that what we're going to make sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on.
President
What
Trump,
the-
let me
what?
follow up with you.
What?
If you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town.
You could tell Trump wants to say something
Yeah.
so bad. Look at him.
Restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive, and it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people.
And if anybody knows anything about New York,
To my wonderful city,
It's him.
it would be
for so
him.
many years, I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
Take a look at what New York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying. And I don't look at
They
it
had the
the way
most.
he does. Blue states and red
Like
states.
this last spike, or one of the last spikes that happened,
Yeah, it was them.
they had the biggest death rate.
They're the red states. They're the states in the Midwest. They're the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike is occurring significantly.
He's saying the red states.
Yeah.
You piece of fucking shit. Eat a dick.
Where these masks
Where Republicans are, they're dying of COVID. But where the Democrats are, people are burning down shit.
already been to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the summer, and nothing's happened.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
When you
about
say spike, take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania, where they've had it closed. Take a look at what's happening with your friend in Michigan, where her husband's the only one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They're having spikes, and they've been closed, and they're getting killed. for
He's
this.
right.
We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease. We have to protect our seniors. We have to protect our elderly. We have to protect especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will protect them. We have the best testing in the world by far.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's the
Let
quickest.
me follow up with you before we move on to our next section. President Trump, this week you called Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's best-known infectious disease expert, quote, a disaster. You described him and other medical experts as, quote, idiots. If you're not listening to them, who are you listening to when you fight them?
I'm listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony, but he did say, don't wear masks. He did say, as you know, this
He
is
did.
not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I think he's a Democrat, but that's okay. He said this is not going to be a problem.
I think he's a Democrat, but that's okay.
Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm not knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew what this thing was. Nobody knew where it was coming from, what it was. We've learned a lot. But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also said, if you look back, exact words, here's his exact words. This is no problem. This is going to go away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes. He happens to be a good person.
Vice President Biden, your response quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
My response is that think about what the president knew in January.
My response
Yeah.
is Trump.
Trump, January.
This virus.
Ah.
And it was much worse than the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded, that in fact he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic.
That's what a leader does. You don't want your people to panic. I'm getting tired of that. Everybody's like, he lied to the people so they wouldn't panic. You know what people panicking over stuff does? Crazy dumb shit.
Like burning down a city block,
Yeah.
trying to get rid of the police.
Like,
The Wall Street one, I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it. You have raised a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made. You know, I could raise so much more money as president and as somebody that knows most of those people. I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in America. I would blow away every record. But I
he
don't wanna do
could,
that
though.
He's Donald goddamn Trump, and you know it, fucker.
Like, he fucking
Sit there and
could.
have that shit-eating smile all you want. You know it's fucking true.
could blow away your records that like you wouldn't believe.
Like, he didn't get where he was just by, like, piddling around. Like, he fucking knows what he's doing.
The money that she was able.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on.
Average contribution $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next
What?
section, which is national security. And I do want to start with the security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say, and Iran sent intimidating messages to Florida voters. This question goes to you, Mr. Vice President. What would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
He wouldn't do
I
anything.
made it clear, and I asked everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price. It's been overwhelmingly clear. This
And that price is millions of dollars. And if you pay, you too can interfere.
Yep.
And now we learn that Iran is involved. They will pay a price if I'm elected. They're interfering with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're interfering with American sovereignty. And to the
But
best of my
Trump
knowledge,
was a racist because he shut China down.
to Putin about
Or
it.
shut travel down
I
from
don't
China.
think he's stalking them a lot. I don't think
But
he said a word.
all these other countries are going to pay a price.
Word to Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he'd probably be more outspoken with regard to the Iranians. But the point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him that what is happening with his buddy, well, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed.
Oh my God.
Let's not talk about pawns here, Biden.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
And get your fucking son involved, right? It's been proven.
Already.
His fucking laptop has been subpoenaed into court. You fucker.
President of the United States, because they know I know them, and they know me. I don't understand why this president is unwilling to take on Putin when he's actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan.
What?
When he's engaged in activities that are trying to destabilize all of NATO.
Because Putin's not a problem.
Do it, but it's worth asking the question.
Putin even said, like, he don't give a fuck.
Any country
What?
Yeah.
What?
Don't
Like,
care. Why does he care?
like, he had a press conference. This is true. People can look this up.
Same question to
Putin had a press conference in Russia and said he don't care what happens in America. We're not his problem.
Foreign adversaries. What would you do in your next term to put an end to this? 2 minutes
Well,
uninterrupted.
let me respond to the first part as Joe answered. Joe got $3.5 million from Russia, and it came through Putin because
The-
he was very friendly with the former mayor of Moscow.
The look on Joe's face when he said that. Oh shit, he's got me.
You got $3.5 million. Your family got $3.5 million.
You did, Joe.
And, you know,
It was
somebody
shown.
explain why did you get
It was
$3.5
proved.
I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from Russia. Now, about your thing last night, I knew all about that. And through John Ratcliffe, who is fantastic, DNI, he said the one thing that's common to both of them, they both want you to lose because there has been nobody tougher to Russia. Between the sanctions, nobody tougher than me on Russia.
That's a fact. He
Yeah.
sanctioned fucking half the goddamn planet.
Yeah.
You could say whatever you want, but he has told other countries, "Fuck you, you're paying."
Yep.
$20 million a year. That's to guard against Russia. While he was selling pillows and sheets, I sold tank busters to Ukraine. There has been nobody tougher on Russia than Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, they were so bad. They took over the submarine port. You remember that very well. During your term, during you and Barack Obama, they took over a big part of what should have been Ukraine. You handed it to them, but you were getting a lot of money from Russia. They were
That's
paying
true.
a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today, it's even worse. All of the
Oh.
emails, the horrible emails
Get him.
of the kind of
Oh, that's true.
you and your family. And Joe, you were vice president when some of this was happening, and it should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to the American people. Why is it? Somebody just had a news conference a little while ago who was essentially supposed
Get him.
to be in your family. What he said was damning, and regardless of
How
me,
come
I
every
think
time
you
you
have
go
to
in
clean
there,
it up
them
and
darn
talk to the
cigarettes
American
and
people. Maybe you can do it right now.
Vice President Biden, you may respond. And then I want to follow up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life.
That's a lie.
Learned this president
It's been proven
50 times the
a
tax
few times.
in China, has a secret bank account with China, does business in China, and in fact is talking about me taking money. I have not taken a single penny from any.
Oh, that's right. Your son has.
Yeah, it was your son.
Number two,
That's what he needs to say. Oh, I apologize. That was your son.
all of my tax
Yep.
returns, 22 years. Go look at them. 22 years of my tax return. You have not released a single solitary year of your tax
He
return.
don't fucking have to.
He don't have
And
to.
you know what? If you get elected, you don't have to do it either.
Yeah.
Paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country, all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas. So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
President Trump, your response.
First of all,
It has nothing to. That's not corruption.
I'm
Yeah.
going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it, and it'll show how successful, how great this company is. But much more importantly than that, people were saying $750. I asked them a week ago. I said, "What did I pay?" They said, "Sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars. I prepaid my tax tens over the last number of years."
That's true. That came out. He really did do that.
Prepaid.
Yep.
Because at some point they think it's an estimate.
That's why he only paid
Tax.
$700 and some in taxes the last time.
Nobody told you.
Right.
Excuse me. And it wasn't written whenever they write this. They keep talking about $750, which I think is a filing fee. But let me just tell you, I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in taxes. Number one. Number two, I don't make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from Russia. You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave you. They even have a statement that we have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think. I don't know. Maybe you're not, but you're the big man. Joe, what's that all about? It's terrible.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you both some questions about all of this. I'm going to let you both respond very quickly. You just said you spoke to your accountant
Yes.
about potentially releasing your taxes. Did he tell you when you? Do you
As
have
soon as the audit is
deadlines for
finished,
when you're going to release
I
them?
get treated worse than the Tea Party got treated. Because I have a lot of people in there deep down in the IRS IRS. They treat me horribly. We made a deal. It was all settled until I decide to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly. But we had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But I have paid millions and millions of dollars, and it's worse than paying. I paid in advance. It's called prepaying your taxes. I paid it in.
I want to ask you both about questions regarding your potential foreign entanglements and questions that have been raised to give you both a chance to talk about this more broadly. Respond very quickly, and then I'll get to my question.
Why did he's been saying this for 4 years? Show us. Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years you're going to release your taxes. Nobody knows, Mr. President. What they do know is you're not paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he said what he paid, he said, I only pay that little because
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
smart. I know how to game the system.
Well, cuz what American businessmen don't know how to do that. Everyone does that. Like how can I pay less taxes?
For 3 years.
Every business on the fucking planet does that.
They spied on my campaign. No president should ever have to go through what I went through. Let me just say that.
I agree.
I agree.
They hate him. They hate him so much.
And FBI agents all over the place spent $48 million. They went through everything I had, including my tax returns, and they found absolutely no collusion and nothing wrong. 48 million. I guarantee you, if I spend 1 million on you, Joe, I could find plenty wrong. What you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken. I mean, your brother made money in Iraq, millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they say you get some of it, and you do live very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
All right, gentlemen, let me just
This is facts.
Yep.
This is facts that he's telling everybody.
questions about the work your son has done in China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president.
I believe Trump has been very calm this
I think
week.
he has too.
Biden's getting
And
mad.
Biden's doing that thing. Whenever you confront someone with a lie that is true, and they laugh it off, like they're like, ah ha ha, yeah, bring that up.
Yeah.
Burisma, a company that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said I did my job impeccably. I carried out U.S. policy. Not one single solitary thing was out of line. Not a single thing. Number one. Number two, the guy who got in trouble in Ukraine was this guy trying to bribe the Ukrainian government to say something negative
That
about
was
me,
you.
which they
No, that was your son.
and did not do because it never, ever, ever happened. My son has not.
It did happen.
made money
It did though.
in terms of
It's
this thing
been
about,
proven.
what are you talking about? China. I have not had it. The only guy who made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
President Trump, let me ask my question to you.
Could I just one thing?
Very
His son didn't have a job for a long time, was sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best reputation in the world. I hear they paid him $183,000 a month. Listen to this. 183, and they gave him a $3 million upfront payment.
All right.
And he had no energy.
I'm going to let the vice president
That's
respond to that
100%.
quickly, and then I do have a question to you. Very
No basis for that. Everybody investigated.
Except for the emails on this laptop they got now.
In Ukraine.
Okay, President.
That's true.
Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China. So how can voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts, and they're all listed, and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business. The bank account you're referring
It's true.
to, which is everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's what it was. It was open to do. It was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president, let alone became president. Big difference. He is the vice president of the United States, and his son, his brother, and his other brother are getting rich. They're like a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking up
Okay,
money.
President Trump,
Everybody's
move on. I do want to ask you, Vice President Biden, about China. Let's talk about China more broadly. There have
I like this moderator.
President Trump has said that
I like her too. She's very.
fully transparent.
Professional.
She's not biased. She's not. She's very professional. Very professional.
And please be specific. What would that look like?
What I've made China do is play by the international rules, not like he has done. He has
Jesus
caused
Christ.
a deficit.
Really? So like all the fucking sanctions and all this bullshit he's making them do, that's not making them play by the rules.
In China, you have to give all your intellectual property. You have to have a partner in China that's 51%. We would not do that at all. Number one. Number two, we're in a situation where China would have to play by the rules internationally as well. When I met with Xi, when I was still vice president, he said we're setting up air identification zones in the South China Sea. You can't fly through them. I said we're going to fly through them. We just flew B-52, B-1 bombers through it. We're not going to pay.
B-52. That's a fucking.
By the rules. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends, all of our allies. We make up only 25%.
North and South Korea came to a peace treaty because of Trump. So, after like decades of trying to kill each other.
Right. So that's a thing. There you go.
That's the way I will run it, and that's what we did in upholding steel tariffs and a range of other things when we were president and vice president.
All right, and let's talk about North Korea.
Excuse me, no, I have to respond to that. $1.5 from China to manage spending $10 million and being in Air Force Two. Number one. Number two, there's a very strong email talking about the family wanting to make $10 million a year for introductions.
President Trump, on China policy, though, what specifically are you going to do? What specifically are you going to do to make China pay? You said you're going to
First of
make
all,
them pay.
China is paying. They're paying billions and billions of dollars. I just gave $28 billion.
New sanctions?
I just gave $28 billion to our farmers.
Taxpayers'
China.
money.
It's what?
Taxpayers' money.
No, yeah, you know the taxpayers. It's called China.
The taxpayer. Oh, it's called China, asshole.
And you know who got the money? Our farmers, our great farmers, because they were targeted. You never charged them anything. Also, I charged them 25% on dumped steel because they were killing our steel industry. We were not going to have a steel industry.
Okay.
And now we have a steel
Okay,
industry.
Vice President Biden, your response, please.
Our response is, look, this isn't about. There's a reason why he's bringing up all this malarkey. There's a
What?
reason for it.
As opposed to the malarkey you brought up.
The substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family. And your family's hurting badly. If you're making less than, if you're a middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table someone deciding, we can't get any tires.
He totally went off the rails from what he was trying to say before after Trump said all
Yeah.
that. Let's switch it up now.
To community college. They're the decisions you're making. And the middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont.
It's called China.
We should be talking about
That better be. I hope that's a soundbite. Like, yeah, it's called China.
I do want to turn to 10 seconds, Mr. President. 10 seconds.
Typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing, and then he looks the family around the table, everything. Just a typical politician when I see that.
Let's talk about
I'm not a
North
typical
Korea.
politician.
Typical politician.
Yep.
Let's get off the subject of China and talk around sitting around the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do better.
We're going to talk about
Huh?
North Korea now. President Trump, you've met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un 3 times. You've talked about your beautiful letters with him. You've touted the fact that there hasn't been a war or a long-range missile test. And yet North Korea recently rolled out its biggest ever intercontinental ballistic missile and continues to develop its nuclear arsenal. Do you see that as a betrayal of the relationship you forged? Just 30 seconds here because we need to get on to the next one.
Trump, you better say yes.
Obama, we sat in the White House right at the beginning, had a great conversation. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was well over an hour. He said the biggest problem we have with North Korea. He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess what? It would be a nuclear war, and he does have plenty of nuclear capability. In the meantime, I have a very good relationship with him. different kind of a guy, but he probably thinks the same thing about me. We have a different kind of a relationship. We have a very good relationship, and there's no war. And you know, about 2 months ago, he broke into a certain area. They said, "Oh, there's going to be trouble." He said, "No, they're not, because he's not going to do that." And I was right. Look, instead of being in a war where millions of people, Seoul, you know, is 25 miles away, millions and millions, 32 million people, and so millions of people would be dead right now.
President
We
Trump,
don't have
that's
war,
30
and I have a
seconds.
good
Thank you.
relationship.
Vice President Biden, to you, North Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under the Obama administration. Why do you think you would be able to rein in this persistent threat?
Because I'd make it clear, which we were making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal. Because here's the root. I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration, when I went to China, that they said, "Why are you moving your missile defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you continue to do military maneuvers with South Korea?" I said, "Because North Korea is a problem, and we're going to continue to do it so we can control them. We're going to make sure we can control them and make sure they can."
Here's the thing. Trump treats these countries like corporations.
Yeah.
It's going to continue. But it's
And that's what happens. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He treats them like corporations, and it's the same thing. It's like, as long as they're not hurting anybody, then why mess with them?
Right.
much more easily than ever did before.
But Biden's like, fuck them.
Vice President Biden, you've said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Are there any conditions under which you would meet with him?
On the condition that he would agree that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity to get the Korean Peninsula should be a nuclear-free zone.
All right, let's
So what you're telling me is you would make him.
He wouldn't do it. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like him. He wouldn't do it.
Okay,
I know
gotta
for
give him a
fact they
chance to
tried.
respond to that
He
before we
wouldn't do
move on.
it. And that's okay. You know what? North Korea, we're not in a war. We have a good relationship. You know, people don't understand. Having a good
President
relationship
Trump,
with
we have
leaders
to
of
move
other
on because we
countries
have
is a good thing.
we have a lot of questions to get to.
Now,
Your
to
response.
And we had a good relationship with Hitler before he, in fact, invaded
No, we didn't.
the rest of Europe.
Did we? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was not good either.
Denuclearization. We're not going to legitimize you. We're going to continue to put stronger and stronger sanctions on you. That's why he
That's how you.
with us.
That's how wars start.
And it didn't
Move
happen.
on. Let's move
Excuse
on
me.
and talk
He
about
left
American
me a
families.
mess,
President
Kristen.
Trump, okay, we
They
need to move
left
on.
me a mess. North Korea was a mess.
We
And
need
in
to
fact,
move
if
on
you
so that
remember
we
the
can
first
talk
2 or
about
3
the
months,
questions tonight.
there was a very dangerous period in my first 3 months before we sort of worked things out a little bit. There was a very they left us a mess, and Obama would be, I think, the first to say there was the single biggest problem. He thought that our
Okay, let's move on to American families and the economy. One of the issues that's most important to them is health care, as you both know. Today, there was a key vote on a new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, and health care is at the center of her confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. If the Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
First of all, I've already done something that nobody thought was possible. Through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate. That is the worst part of Obamacare, as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to
Yep.
pay for bad health
He did that.
insurance. I terminated. It's gone.
Listen, people seem to forget that
Obamacare is no
if you didn't have insurance, you got fined.
Yeah.
You remember that year when that happened?
I paid $600 in that fine. Yeah.
They ran it.
Luckily, I was getting enough back that it just ate $400 out of my tax return.
It's no good. What we'd like to do is terminate it. We have the individual mandate done. I don't know that it's going to work. If we don't win, we will have to run it, and we'll have Obamacare, but it'll be better run. But it no longer is Obamacare, because without the individual mandate, it's much different. Pre-existing
This is true.
conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better health care, much better, will always protect people with pre-existing. So I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful health care. The Democrats will do it because there'll be tremendous pressure on them, and we might even have the House by that time. And I think we're going to win the House, okay? You'll see. But I
You want to know something that they're voting on this election too?
What?
There's one state, is it Colorado? I believe it's Colorado, that is voting to legalize magic mushrooms.
Really?
I fucking kid you not. Look it up.
Jesus.
All of those policies. These are people that love their health care. People that have been successful. Middle income people, been successful. They have 180 million plans, 180 million people, families, under what he wants to do, which will basically be socialized medicine. He won't even have a choice. They want to terminate 180 million plans. We have done an incredible job on health care, and we're going to do even better.
Okay, Vice President Biden, yes, this is for you, your healthcare.
Did they mute his mic?
Building on Obamacare. So my question is,
I don't know.
what is your plan if the law is ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option, become Biden care. The public option is an option that says that if you, in fact, do not have the wherewithal,
Biden care. You're tired of saying Obamacare. It's the Affordable Care Act, you dumb fucks.
to get Medicaid, you automatically enroll, providing competition for insurance companies. That's what's going to happen. Secondly, we're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices by making sure that there's
Trump's already done that. He's doing that. He's been doing that.
Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies. Thirdly, the idea that
He's already done that.
private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why I did not one single person with private insurance.
How the fuck can you support private insurance but also support Obamacare?
Yeah.
Unless they chose, they wanted to go to something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a
Listen,
situation that we've actually protected.
I don't have any qualms. I'm almost 100% positive that you're going to lose there, Biden.
Yeah.
If they would have put the correct candidate up, Bernie, it would be the other way around,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Trump wouldn't have a chance. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's just fact.
Yeah.
We waited since 17, 18, 19, and 20. The fact I still have a few more minutes. I know you're getting anxious. The fact
Shut up, fucker.
he's already cost the American
He said I still got a few more minutes. You only get 2 in total.
economic spillover. 10 million people have lost their private insurance, and he wants to take away 22 million more people who have it under Obamacare, and over 110 million people with pre-existing conditions, and all the people from COVID are going to have pre-existing conditions. What are they going to do?
I have a follow-up for you, Vice President Biden. It
my
relates to
God.
something that President Trump said. He's accusing you of wanting socialized medicine. What do you say to people who have concerns that your health care plan, which includes a government insurance option, takes the country one step closer to a health care system run entirely by the government?
I say it's ridiculous. It's like saying that, we're the idea that the fact that there's a public option that people can choose, that makes it a socialist plan. Look, the difference
Well,
between the
kinda.
president, I think healthcare is not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have the right to have affordable healthcare. And I am very proud of my plan.
If you go to the emergency room, they won't turn you away.
Yep.
As well as a whole range
Now
of
you'll,
people, in fact,
a month later, get a big ass fucking bill,
Yeah.
but they will not turn you away.
And this is going to give some people an opportunity to have health care for their children. How many of you home are worried and rolling around in bed tonight wondering what in God's name you're going to do if you get sick? Because you've lost your...
Rolling around in bed. What?
We have to provide health insurance for people at an affordable rate. That's what I do.
No, they don't. I'm sorry, I don't agree. I don't agree with healthcare for all.
Yeah.
I just don't. That's me. That's just a personal thing.
3/4. It was just a little while ago, right? Less than 4 years ago. He didn't do anything. He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine, and it's not that he wants it. His vice president. I mean, she is more liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even more. Bernie Sanders wants it.
That's true.
Yep.
You're going to have socialized medicine, just like you went with fracking. We're not going to have fracking. We're going to stop fracking. We're going to stop fracking. Then he goes to Pennsylvania after he gets a nomination.
He also said there was be no more coal mines.
Yep.
Period. No more coal mine power plants. Here's the thing. That's the lifeblood of the area that we live in.
Yep.
That'll kill our local fucking economy.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody should ask the question. He goes for a year. There will be
We have a number of topics we can get to. We have we're gonna get to
It's the same thing with socialized
I have
medicine.
to
Vice
respond.
President, your response, please.
My response is people deserve to have affordable health care. Period. 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 And the Biden care proposal will, in fact, provide for that affordable
No,
health
now
care.
he's gonna.
Lower premiums.
God
What
damn
we're
it.
going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And they're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal with unexpected billing, and have your drug prices drop significantly. He keeps talking about it. He hasn't done a thing for anybody on health care.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah,
Bull
he
fucking
has.
shit. Because I'm a diabetic and my insulin was $450 fucking under the Obamacare, under Obama. Under him, I bought it last month and it was $100
Yeah.
or
So
75 and change. 75 after taxes. It was like 8. Might as well say it beat the shit out of a $100 bill. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
But still,
Okay, let's
that's
hear Vice
fact.
President Biden respond. Vice President Biden, your
Very confused
response.
guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. He's running against Joe Biden.
Oh my
I
God.
beat all those other people because I disagreed with them. Joe Biden he's running against. And the Actuary Medicare said, if in fact, at Social Security, if in fact he continues to withhold his plan to withhold the tax on Social Security, Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023.
And motherfucker, you're the one that's wanting to stop funding to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, the idea that Donald Trump is lecturing me on Social Security and Medicare? Come on.
He tried to get
10
rid of. He
seconds, Mr.
tried to hurt
President, and then I
Social
have to go to
Security
another
years
question.
ago. Years ago. Go back and look at the records. He tried to hurt Social Security years ago.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to move on.
That when they
Mr.
announced,
President, I have to move on to the next question,
they said
or
the
else
stock
we're not
market
going to have
will
time to
boom
talk about it.
if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Okay, let's
Because
move on to the
analysts-
next
Alright.
question very quickly.
Look, the idea that the stock market is booming is his only measure of what's happening. Where I come from in Scranton and Claremont, the people don't live off of the stock market. Just in the last
Everybody
three
lives off
years
the stock
during
market in
this
some way.
Yeah.
The billionaires in this country made, according to the Wall Street, $700 billion more dollars.
If they think there's going to be a shortage of moo cows, milk goes up.
Yep.
That's a fact. That affects everybody.
Let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill. We're going to move on, gentlemen.
401ks are through the roof.
We're going to move on.
Stock are through the roof.
All
And
right.
he doesn't come from Scranton. That's like he lived there for a short period of time before he even knew
We're
it.
going to move on to
And he
the next
left.
question.
People of Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my next question,
they
gentlemen.
understand.
As of tonight, more than 12 million people are out of work, and as of tonight, 8 million more Americans have fallen into poverty, and more families are going hungry every day. Those hit hardest are women and people of color. They see Washington fighting over a relief bill. Mr. President, why haven't you been able to get them the help they need?
Nancy fucking Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi doesn't want
Yep.
to approve it. I do.
But you're the president.
I do, but I still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons
I mean, that's how it works. He has.
He's got to get approval.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to approve anything because she'd love to have some victories on a date called November 3rd. Nancy Pelosi
Which is
doesn't
true.
want to approve it.
Nancy Pelosi has
Sure.
said that.
Do something. Don't forget, we've already approved 3 plans, and it's gone through, including the Democrats. In all fairness, this one she doesn't want. It's near the election because she thinks it helps her politically. I think it hurts her.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
You know, the Republican leader in the United States Senate said he can't pass it. He will not be able to pass it. He does not have Republican votes. Why isn't he talking to his Republican friends?
let me follow up with you, Vice President
We made a
Biden,
deal.
because
Republicans
let me ask
passed
Vice President Biden a question. You are the leader of the Democratic Party. Why have you not pushed the Democrats to get a deal for the American people?
Yeah.
They have pushed it. Look, they passed this act all the way back in the beginning of the summer.
That was the first stimulus package, you dumbass.
Jesus
The
Christ.
Zeroes Act has been sitting there. And look at what's happening. When I was in charge of the Recovery Act with $800 billion, I was able to get $145 billion to local communities that have to balance their budgets, and states that have to balance their budgets, and then have to fire firefighters, teachers, first responders, law enforcement officers, so they can keep their cities and counties running. He will not support that. They have not done a thing for them. And Mitch McConnell said, let them go bankrupt. Let them go bankrupt. Come on. What's the matter
The
with
bill
these
that was
guys?
passed in the House was a bailout of badly run, high crime, Democrat, all run by Democrats, cities and states. It was a way of getting a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars to these kids. It was also a way of getting a lot of money from our people's pockets to people that come into our country illegally. We were going to
Just
take
true.
care of everything for them. And what that does, and I'd love to do that, I'd love to help them, but what that does, everybody all over the world will start pouring into our country. We can't do it. This was a way of
I
taking
agree
care
with
of
that.
them.
I
This
do
was
too.
a way of
We
spending
can't take
nothing
everybody.
to do with COVID, as per your question, but it was really a big bailout for badly run Democrat cities and states.
All right, I want to.
If I get elected, I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American president. I don't see red states and blue states. What I see is American, United States. And folks, every single state out there finds themselves in trouble. They're going to start laying off, whether they're red or blue. Cops, firefighters, first responders.
You already said that.
Teachers, because they have to balance their budget. And the founders were smart. They allowed the federal government to deficit spend to compensate for the United States of America.
I want to talk about the minimum wage, gentlemen. Mr. Vice President, we are talking a lot about struggling small businesses
Yes.
and business owners these days. Do you think
Yeah, let's talk about that one you had on your fucking commercial that wasn't Biden, you fucker.
Things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bail them out too. We should be bailing them out now. Those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of them going under. They're not going to be able to make it back. They passed a package that allows us to be able to go PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from
The fuck was that?
how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. Schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help.
Not all schools are going to get that. You know why? Because in our state, it's going to go to up northern Virginia.
Yep.
We're in southwest fucking ass end of the fucking state. Our local area ain't going to get shit
Yeah.
because there's not enough people here, and a lot of people around here are poor. So fuck them. That's exactly their
Yeah.
mentality.
It's very important. We have to help our small businesses. How are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen, and what's been proven to happen, is when you do that, these small businesses fire many of their
You
employees.
said
Not
very
true,
recently you would
by the way.
consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. You said recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is that still the case?
And I would consider it to an extent, but
In a
what I
second
really
administration?
like, in a second administration, but not to a level that's going to put all these businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look,
Oh, you're okay with that there, Biden?
I know different places. They're all different. Some places, $15 is not so bad. In other places, other states, $15 would
Okay,
be
President Trump, thank you. Quick
That's
response.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Jobs, one job, be below poverty. People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. These first responders,
Bullshit, Biden.
as they come down the street, because they've allowed
They have to make at least $7.25 because that's minimum wage.
Yep.
a wage of $15.
A minimum wage that never raised during the Obama administration.
And there is no
true.
evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business. That is simply not true.
We're going to talk about immigration. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about immigration.
When their payroll goes from $10,000 to $40,000, that kind of is a big leap there.
Yeah.
Fucking Sleepy Joe.
You've since reversed your zero tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use
This is
them to
true.
get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through.
But how will you reunite
me
these
just tell
kids
you.
with their families,
Just tell you,
Mr.
they
President?
built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages. And then they had a picture in a certain newspaper. And it was a picture of these horrible cages. And they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Do you
They
have a
built
plan to
cages.
reunite the kids?
Yes,
with
we're
their
working
families?
on it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through
That's true.
That's true. How
These people send their children over thinking the children are going to have a better life,
Yeah.
which ultimately they will, even if they're in the system.
Yeah.
They separated them at the border to make
No, they don't,
No, they
fucker.
don't. No, they don't.
Big, real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot. It's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them.
He's
They got
talking about
separated from their
people, you
parents.
fucked up.
And it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed the policy.
Your response
They
to
did
that?
it. We changed.
Did not
They built the
separate
cages.
That's true. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Let's talk about what we're
Who built the
talking
cages,
about. Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about. What happened? Parents were ripped. Their kids were ripped from their arms and separated.
No, they
And
weren't.
now they cannot find over 500 of sets of those parents, and those kids are alone. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Let me ask
Kristen,
you
I
about
will say
it.
this. They
10
went down. We
seconds
brought
and 90
reporters, everything. They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean.
But some of
They've
them
gotten
haven't been
such good-
reunited
But
with
just
their
ask
families.
one question. Who built the cages? I'd love you to ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy, Mr. Vice President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course. So why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
I wouldn't.
Made a mistake.
Yeah.
It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States. And the
So now he's trying to say he's better than Obama?
That's what he's saying.
I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over
And it was too much of a problem to overcome. How come Trump has fixed a lot of those issues?
Mhm.
In 4 years.
Certified again to be able to stay in this country and put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy and they want to do that is they're going to a country they've never seen before. I can imagine you're 5 years old, your parents are taking you across the Rio Grande River and it's illegal. And you say, oh no, Mom, leave me here. I'm not going to go with you. They've been here. Many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000 of them are first responders out there taking care of people during this crisis. We owe them. We owe them.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
To do what he said.
We don't owe illegal. We don't owe anybody that ain't coming to this country legally fucking anything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They don't have a right because they're not a citizen of this country.
8 years he was vice president. He did nothing except build cages to keep children in.
Vice President.
That's true.
The catch and release. You know what he's talking about there? If in fact you had a family came across and they were arrested, they in fact were given a date to show up for their hearing. They were released. And guess what? They showed up for a hearing.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they fucking didn't. That's a lie. They didn't show up. You know why they didn't show up?
Never happened.
Because you released them into the country, you dumb nut.
Never happened before in America. You come to the United States and you make your case that you've seen.
No, they don't. They didn't give three shits. They were like, oh, they're letting us loose? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what the fuck happened.
They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
President Trump.
It's
Then
not-
that's fucking Mexico's fault, not ours.
Yeah.
Understanding of immigration.
How the fuck is that the U.S.'s fault that Mexico's a shithole?
A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in. We would take their name. We have to release them into our country. And then you say they come back. Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going to give you a court case. When you say they come back, they don't come back, Joe. They never come back. Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
He's
On to the next
tr-
You don't know the
section.
law, Joe.
Vice
He's
President.
hitting hard tonight.
Know the law, what he's telling you is simply not true.
Well, check it out. They don't come back.
Check it out.
All right, let's move
But we don't have to
on
worry
to the
about it.
next
They
section.
terminated it, so we don't have to worry about it
Let's
anymore.
move on to the next
And you have
section.
525 kids not knowing where in God's name they're going to be and lost their parents.
Go ahead.
All right.
Damn.
What did he say?
Trump said good.
About the way Black and brown Americans experience race in this country. Part of that experience is something called the talk. It happens regardless of class and income. Parents parents who feel they have no choice but to prepare their children for the chance that they could be targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2 minutes, I want you to speak directly to these families.
Listen, I was with Obama and he was black.
I do. I do. You know, my daughter is a social worker, and she's written a lot about this. She has a graduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania in social work. And you know, one of the reasons why I ended up working on the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, which is 90% African American, was to learn more about what was going on. What I never had to tell my daughter, if she's pulled over, make sure she puts, for a traffic stop, put both hands on top of the wheel and don't reach for the glove box because someone may shoot you. But a black
Fuck off.
Oh my God. I was told that.
Teach their child when you're walking down the street, don't have a hoodie on when you go across the street. Making sure that you, in fact, if you get pulled over, yes sir, no sir, hands on top of the wheel, because you are in fact the victim, whether you're a person making child of a $300,000 a year person or someone who's on food stamps. The fact of the matter is there is institutional racism in America.
No, there's not.
No,
You
there's
dumb piece of shit. No, there is not.
All men and women are created equal. But guess what? We have never ever lived up to it. We've always constantly been moving.
You know, if there is institutional racism, who put it in fucking place?
Obama.
Jim Crow laws were put in place by the fucking Democrats.
Yep.
So eat a dick.
We have to provide for economic opportunity, better education.
And Obama divided the country with race more than anybody.
Opportunity to borrow money to start businesses. All the things we can do, and I've laid out a clear plan as to how to do those things, just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
President Trump, same question to you, and let me remind you of the question. I would like you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
Yes, I do. And again, he's been in government 47 years. He never did a thing except in 1994 when he did such harm to the black community. And they were called, and he called them super predators. And he said that. He said it, super predators. And they kept never lived that down. 1994, your crime bill, the super predators. Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you look, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform. Obama and Joe didn't do it. I don't even think they tried because they had no chance at doing it. They might have wanted to do it, but if you had to see the arms I had to twist to get that done, it was not a pretty picture, and everybody knows it, including some very liberal people that cried in my office. They cried in the Oval Office. 2 weeks later, they're out saying, gee, we have to defeat him. Criminal justice reform, prison reform, opportunity zones with Tim Scott, a great senator from South Carolina. He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity zones. It's one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment is being made. Biggest beneficiary, the black and Hispanic communities, and then historically black colleges and universities. After 3 years of coming to the office, I love some of those guys. They were great. They came into the office and I said, what are you doing? After 3 years, I said, why do you keep coming back? Because we have no funding. I said, you don't have to come back every year. We have to come back because President Obama would never give them long-term funding. And I did. 10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because I said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them, and they like me and I like them. But I saved it. Colleges and universities.
Okay, and we're going to talk about both of your records, but your response to that, Vice
My
President.
response to that is I never ever said what he accused me of saying.
Yes, you did.
The fact of the
Yes, you did. You can look it up on YouTube.
It's,
after the crime bill has been in the law for a while, this is
I didn't say that.
the problem with the crime
Well,
bill
you
is
did.
Nuh-uh.
there's not enough people in jail. And go on my website, get the quote, the date when he said it. Not enough people. He talked about marauding gangs, young gangs, and the people who are going to maraud our our cities. This is a guy who in the Central Park five innocent black kids, he continued to push for making sure that they got the death penalty. None of them were guilty of the crimes they were
What the fuck are you even talking about, Joe?
Granted, he did in fact let 20 people, he commuted 20 people's sentences. We commuted over 1,000 people's sentences. Over 1,000. The very law he's talking about is a law that, in fact, initiated by Barack Obama. And secondly, we're in a situation here where the federal prison system was reduced by 38,000 people under our administration. And one of these things we should be doing, there should be no minimum mandatories in the law. That's why I'm offering $20 billion to states to change their state laws to eliminate minimum mandatories and set up drug courts. No one should be going to jail because they have a drug problem. They should be going to rehabilitation, not to jail. We should fundamentally change the system, and that's what I'm going to do.
Why didn't he do it 4 years ago? Why didn't you do that 4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you? You were vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're going to do this, but you were there just a short time ago, and you guys did nothing.
We did.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of
Oh.
Obama. Because you did a good job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President Biden, your response to that, and then I do have some questions for both.
It's your fault everybody hates him.
I hope he does look at me because what's happening here is you know who I am. You know who he is. You know his character. You know my character. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth.
And sniffing girls' hair.
I'm anxious to have this race. I'm anxious to see this take place. The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up. Please respond, and then we're going to have follow-up.
And you're a fucking hair sniffer.
Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq. If this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
Right.
So don't give me this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody.
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
From hell.
President Trump, we're
Nobody.
talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
I
you've
have to
just...
respond to that.
Please,
Because look,
very
there
quickly.
are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan.
Oh my
They've
God.
said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
Oh God, I love it, man.
Is Russia?
Gentlemen, I want to stay on the issue of race,
You have
okay?
to be kidding. Here we go again with Russia.
We're going to continue on the issue of race. Mr. President, you've described the Black Lives Matter movement as a symbol of hate. You've shared a video of a man chanting white power to millions of your supporters. You've said that black professional athletes exercising their First Amendment rights should be fired. What do you say to Americans who say that kind of language from a president is contributing to a climate of hate and racial strife?
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching down the street. And that was my first glimpse of Black Lives Matter. I thought it was a terrible thing. As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Well, what do you say to Americans who are concerned by that rhetoric?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity zones. I took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say. They can say anything. I mean, they can say anything. It makes me sad because I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark. But I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room.
Okay, Vice President Biden, let me ask you very quickly, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history.
Jesus Christ.
Fuel on
Was that a try to joke there, Joe?
Started off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexican rapists. He's banned Muslims because they're Muslims. He has moved.
That's not why he banned them.
Made everything says about the poor boys, last time we were on stage here, he said, I told them to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy is a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
President Trump, I'm
Jeez.
What the fuck was that? What was those words? And was that even a sentence?
No.
You said you're Abraham Lincoln.
Where did that? No. I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
And I'm
I
saying,
didn't say I'm Abraham Lincoln. I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done.
Like I didn't say that, you dumbass.
Now, you have done nothing other than the crime bill, which put
oh, God.
tens of thousands of black men, mostly, in jail.
All right,
Da-da-ding, ding, true.
Yeah.
What's happening with the voting right now?
let me ask
They
Vice
remember
President
that you
Biden.
treated them very, very badly. Just take a look at what's happening out there.
Vice President Biden, let me give you a chance to respond within this context. Crime bills that you supported in the 80s and 90s contributed to the incarceration of tens of thousands of young black men who had small amounts of drugs in their possession. They are sons, they are brothers, they're fathers, they're uncles, whose families are still to this day, some of them suffering the consequences. So speak to those families. Why should they vote for you?
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs and how to deal with drugs. It was a mistake. I've been trying to change it since then, particularly the portion on cocaine. That's why I've been
What?
arguing that, in fact, we should not send anyone
Huh?
to jail
What?
for a pure drug.
Whoa!
Going
Whoa!
across
We're talking about weed. You're coming
Talking
out.
about the hard stuff.
You're coming out with cocaine, Joe. Shit.
be going to jail for a drug or an alcohol problem. They should be going into treatment. That's what we've been trying to do. That's what I'm going to get done because I think maybe the American people have now seen that in fact it was a mistake to pass those laws.
I think he really just fucked up,
They were not in the
honestly.
crime bill.
Yeah, I agree.
Where the fuck did the cocaine thing come from?
No action with these.
Listen, we're appealing it where you can snort as much as you want.
When I become president, you were vice president along with Obama as your president, your leader, for 8 years. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years to get it
I
done.
mean, it's a legit question. Why didn't you do it then?
You're all talking.
Why didn't you fix it?
We got a lot of it done. We released 38,000. We got 38,000 prisoners left from.
You got nothing done.
38,000 prisoners were released from federal prison. There were over 1,000 people who were given clemency. In fact, we're the ones that put in the legislation saying we could look at pattern and practice of police departments and what they were doing, how they were conducting themselves. I could go on, but we began the process. We lost an election. That's why I'm running to win back that election and change his term.
You didn't win the election. You can only get 2 terms, dumbass.
You do it.
What?
Years, a short time ago. Why didn't you do it? You just said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. You put tens of thousands of mostly black young men in prison. Now you're saying you're going to undo that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama.
That's a legit question. Why didn't you do it
I
then?
agree. Why?
All right, Vice President Biden, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
We had a Republican Congress.
What?
That's the answer.
Okay.
What?
You got to talk them into it, Joe.
All right.
You got to talk them into it.
We're going to move on to our next section.
Like I did with
which is
criminal
climate
justice
change.
reform. I had to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen,
People are posting about Joe.
Are they?
About Joe Biden on Facebook. They're like, I think Joe is glitching. Hurry, reboot him.
you say that environmental regulations have hurt jobs in the energy sector. Vice President Biden, you have said you see addressing climate change as an opportunity to create new jobs. For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment. What I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time. Not Joe. I haven't heard Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or means. But
What he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
carbon emission numbers that we've had in 35 years under this administration. We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India. It's filthy. just filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord. It was so unfair. China doesn't kick in until 2030. Russia goes back to a low standard, and we kicked in right away. It would have destroyed our businesses. So, you ready? We have done a triple job environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best carbon emission standards that we've seen in many, many years.
Vice President
And we
Biden.
haven't destroyed our industries.
Vice President Biden, 2 minutes to you, uninterrupted.
Climate change, climate warming, the global warming is an existential threat to humanity.
Oh my
We have
God.
a moral obligation to deal with it. And we're told by all the leading scientists in the world we don't have much time. We're going to pass the
Horse shit.
within the next 8 to 10 years. 4 more years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate, to clean up, to limit the limit of emissions will put us in a position where we're going to be in real trouble. Here's what we have
If we
to do.
limit emissions, it's going to put us in trouble. Okay.
All the environmental organizations as well as labor, the people worried about jobs, to support my climate plan. Because what it does, it will create millions of new good-paying jobs. We're going to invest in, for example...
Did he just say millions of unpaid jobs?
50,000 charging stations on our highways so that we can own the electric car market of the future. In the meantime, China is doing that. We're going to be in a position where we're going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million existing buildings and 2 million existing homes and retrofit them so they don't leak as much energy, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs. And by the way, the whole idea of what this is all going to do
Joe's
is
getting
create
tired.
millions of jobs, and it's going to
He's sleepy. It's his bedtime.
and our jobs are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the way, Wall Street firms indicated that my plan will in fact create 18.6 million jobs, 7 million more than his. This is from Wall Street.
Now, what exactly is your plan? You've yet to say that.
$1 trillion more in economic growth than his proposal does. Not on climate, just on the economy.
Well, President Trump, here
May came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan. That his plan is an economic disaster. If you look at what he wants
That's
to
a
do,
fact. Look at all the celebrities like, no, fuck his plan.
Yep.
You know who developed it? AOC plus 3. They know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing about the climate. And they're all hopping through hoops for AOC plus 3. Look, their real plan costs $100 trillion. If we had the best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that. When he says,
Y'all remember Max Headstorm? Don't Joe remind you of him?
Yeah.
As they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing. This is the craziest plan that anybody has ever seen. And this wasn't done by smart people. This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it can be good politically. They want to spend $100 trillion. That's their real number. He's trying to say it was 6. It's $100 trillion. They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little, tiny, small windows. I mean, and many other things.
Okay.
And many other things.
Let me have the Vice President
It
respond,
is
and we're running out of time, and we have a lot more
Will
questions to
destroy
get
our
to.
country.
So let's hear from the Vice President. I have a number more
I
questions.
don't know where he comes from. I don't know where he comes up with these numbers.
Wait.
$100 trillion. Give me a break. This plan was endorsed by every major environmental group and every labor group. Labor. Because they know the future lies. The future lies in us being able to breathe. And they know there are good jobs in getting us there. And by the way, the fastest growing industry in America is the electric, solar energy, and wind. He thinks wind causes cancer, windmills. It's the fastest growing jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages, $45-50 an hour. We can grow.
Yeah, you just got to have a 4-year electrical degree or a 6-year master's degree. So there's just that.
We are energy independent for the first time. We don't need all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their energy. We are energy independent. I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive, kills all the birds, it's very intermittent, it's got a lot of problems, and they happen to make the windmills in both Germany and China. And the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emission, the fumes coming up to make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a
Solar.
scientist in that.
I love solar, but solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's not powerful yet to really run our big, beautiful factories that we need to compete.
And this is something that
So it's all
Trump would know about.
But you know what we'll do?
He's a businessman. He's built businesses and stuff.
Of your oil industry, you want, and what about fracking?
All right, let me allow Vice President Biden to respond.
Never said I oppose fracking.
Yes, you have.
I did show the tape. Put it on your website. Put it on the website.
Oh, I bet he will.
Oh,
I bet he
it
will.
will. Tomorrow it'll be on there.
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer we need.
You said it, Joe. Kamala even said it.
Transition
Yep.
to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025. What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking, capture the emissions from gas. We can do that, and we can do that by investing money and doing it. It's a transition to that.
I have one more question in this pod, and then
Excuse me, he was against fracking. He said it. I will show that to you tomorrow.
I knew it.
Against fracking.
It's gonna pop up.
The nomination went to Pennsylvania. Then he said, "But you know what, Pennsylvania? He'll be against it very soon because his party is totally against it."
Fracking on federal land, I said. No fracking land or oil on federal
Let
land.
me ask this final question in this section.
Oh man, everybody's like, I think Mike Pence has rubbed off on Trump.
People of color are much more likely to live near oil refineries and chemical plants. In Texas, there are families who worry the plants near them are making them sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families give you another 4 years in office?
The families that we're talking about are employed heavily, and they're making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made. If you look at the kind of numbers that we produce for Hispanic, for Black, for Asian, it's 9 times greater the percentage gain than it was under in 3 years than it was under 8 years of the two of them, to put it nicely. 9 times more. Now, somebody lives, I have not heard the numbers or the statistics that you're saying, but they're making a tremendous amount of money economically. We saved it, and I saved it again a number of months ago when oil was crashing because of the pandemic. We saved it. We got, say what you want about relationship, we got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia to cut back, way back. We saved our oil industry, and now it's very vibrant again.
All right.
And everybody has very inexpensive gasoline.
Vice
Remember.
President Biden, your response, and then we're going to have a final question for both of you.
My response is that those people live on what they call fence lines. She doesn't understand this. They live near chemical plants that, in fact, pollute chemical plants and oil plants. And
When it comes to a business question,
near that, growing up in Claymont, Delaware.
Yeah.
And all
Now we want to talk corruption.
yeah.
That would be for Joe.
than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and
When he's like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's been doing it for a really long time. Before he was even president.
The fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them. It matters how you keep them safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutions the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close down the oil
It
industry?
falls.
Would you close down the oil
By the way, I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I would
that's a big
transition.
statement.
That is a big statement. That's because I would stop
Why would you do that?
because the oil industry.
The moderator, he was even like, why would you do that? The inflection in her voice.
Because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time. And I'd stop giving to the oil industry. I'd stop stop giving them federal subsidies. You won't give federal subsidies to the gas, excuse me, to solar and wind. Yeah. Why are we giving it to oil industry? We actually
Wind.
give it to solar and wind.
We have
That's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying is he is going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President Biden, let me give you 10 seconds to respond, and then I have to get to the final question. Vice President Biden.
He takes everything out of context, but the point is,
As opposed to all the out of context stuff everybody does to Trump. Okay.
energy production.
It's not okay for him to do it.
Totally.
All right. One
Is he
final
gonna get
question
China
to
to
vote.
do it?
No, we're finished with
Is
this.
he
One
gonna-
final question.
No,
We have to
I'm
move
going
on
to
to a
rejoin
final question.
Paris Accord and make China abide by what they.
Oh God, Joe, you just fucked yourself.
Leadership, gentlemen. And this first question does go to you, President Trump. Imagine this is your inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who did not vote for you? You'll each have 1 minute, starting with you, Mr.
We have to make a country totally successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China. Now we're rebuilding it and we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs in a short period of time, etc. But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting calls from people that were not normally people that would call me. They wanted to get together. We had the best black unemployment numbers in the history of our country.
That's true.
Yep.
Women, Asian, people with diplomas, with no diplomas, MIT graduates, number one in the class. Everybody had the best numbers. And you know what? The other side wanted to get together. They wanted to unify. Success is going to bring us together. We are on the road to success. But I'm cutting taxes, and he wants to raise everybody's taxes, and he wants to put new regulations on everything. He will kill it. If he gets in, you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen. Your 401ks will go to hell, and it'll be
That's true.
a very
Yeah.
sad day for this country.
All right. Vice President Biden, same question to you. What will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
I will say, I'm an American president. I represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me, and I'm going to make sure that you're represented. I'm going to give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to choose science over fiction. We're going to choose hope over fear. We're going to choose to move forward.
God
because there
damn
are
it.
enormous opportunities to make things better. We can grow this economy. We can deal with the systemic racism. At the same time, we can make sure that our economy is being run and moved and motivated by clean energy, creating millions of new jobs. And that's the fact. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, as I said at the beginning, what is on the ballot here is the character of this country. Decency, honor, respect, treating people with dignity, making sure
Trump
that
actually
everyone has
said
a chance.
something.
And I'm going to make sure you get that. You haven't been
Biden-
getting it the last 4
It's
years.
campaigning
All
again.
right,
Yeah.
I want to thank you both for a very robust
He's saying talking
hour and a
points.
half, a fantastic debate. Really appreciate it. President Trump, former Vice President Joe Biden, thank you to Belmont University for hosting us tonight. And most importantly, thank you to those watching tonight.
Oh man, everybody on Facebook's like, did you hear what the fuck Joe Biden said about the oil industry? Everybody's like, I'm not even joking. My fucking Facebook blew the fuck up over that.
Damn.
This 2020 election.
All right, kids.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
It was good. It was good.
But, I mean, okay. Let's be very honest. The first debate,
Eh.
let's
But yeah.
he did. Let's be honest, he did. I will give it to him. Then Mike Pence come in.
Yep. Yep.
And he mopped the fucking floor
Well,
of Kamala Harris.
yeah.
I honestly think that Trump won this.
Yeah.
Really good. I feel like he come better prepared in this one.
I think you did.
I feel like he kept his temper in check. And I feel like it did good overall. Okay, go ahead and close out the stream.
I did. Well, our final thoughts.
Final thought. Trump won.
I think Trump won. I think what people was saying, like Pence probably like after the Pence debate, either he took Trump to the side and be like, look, this is what you got to do, or Trump watched that debate and like, oh, I should do that or something. But Trump won hands down this one. And like Biden was just spouting off. Trump was actually saying some facts. He was actually saying things. Biden was using talking points.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. We'll get this uploaded to our YouTube.
Yep, and I'll get us post. We recorded it, so you'll be able to listen to it all on podcast. But I think it was good.
I think it was good too. And we'll see you next time, guys.